Welcome to Terrifying and Twisted.
Do you want a brew?
Heyo, welcome back to episode 11. It's me, Phil.
It's me, Carla.
So, welcome back.
How's everybody been?
2 weeks.
Has it dragged for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that first week, it got to Sunday, and I felt strange.
Like you should have been doing something.
Yeah, I felt like I was forgetting. I did all the uniforms, got everything ready for school, and I still felt like I should be doing something else here.
Yeah.
So it's been a bit shit.
Quite a bit's happened in 2 weeks. Obviously,
Yeah.
Prince Philip's funeral was today.
Yeah, it was.
We're not a massive
Royal
family
fan,
people,
no.
but a man's died and...
I just felt for Queen, regardless of what I feel on the royals and what it stands for. You know, that lady's lost a man she spent a lot of years with.
Also, another thing that we watched in these 2 weeks is The Tiger King.
Oh my
Ross Kemp.
God. How many people in the UK have got fucking tigers?
Unbelievable.
Lions?
I
I'm
might
shocked.
have been like ignorant, but I honestly thought it was just
An
like,
American thing.
An American thing.
Yeah, I did. Well, you saw my reaction to it. I was shocked at just how many there is.
People having
And how easy it is.
yeah.
You'd
People
think
having alligators in the
fucking
in
hell.
the sheds.
Swimming with his alligators.
Absolutely fucking bonkers.
Oh, God.
I
Ross
said-
Kemp's face.
I said to you that night, humans are that stupid. If they could have a great white fucking shark in the back garden, they would.
Fucking would.
They would.
I don't think I've ever sat and thought to myself, oh, do you know what I fancy buying today? A fucking lion or a
Imagine if I
tiger?
come back from supermarket with a fucking big tiger.
I still can't get over it. And I just think Ross Kemp's face said it all. He was fucking shocked, wasn't he?
The bloke with 40 snakes just in one room.
He opened door and he thought it was going to be a bedroom and it was just fucking tanks upon tanks. 40 fucking snakes in one room. What did his neighbour say?
She thought he had 4 or 5 snakes.
Her poor face when he told her how many.
This bloke had 20-foot snakes in his house. Unbelievable.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Each to their own.
But what's that dragon that he carries round?
That Komodo dragon.
Yeah, fucking carries it round
Like
on
a
his
baby.
back. I don't know.
Absolutely bonkers.
It's crackers.
Also, last few days it was 50 pence Costa.
50 pence.
50 pence Costa.
It was.
So we took advantage of that.
Well, I thought we did well. We only got one. It weren't that busy either, were it?
No.
What else have we watched? Oh, we've watched 2 new dramas, haven't we? The ITV and the Channel 5.
Yeah, well, ITV too close. That were a bit meh. So, and Channel 5 Intruder. That were also a bit meh.
Kind of felt like I'm not going to get those hours back.
We're watching reruns of Fawlty Towers at the minute.
Oh my God.
And those who know Fawlty Towers, it were...
I don't know how they ever got away with what they got away with.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. How
Well,
times have changed.
Yeah.
So, what else apart from what we've watched? We've not done much, have we?
No.
Work, school.
Obviously we're out of lockdown now, so everyone's out and about.
We went to town for the first time today, didn't we? In well over a year.
And even though I don't drink, it's nice to see people out in
Pubs.
beer gardens and
Yeah. It was nice. Bit of normality, I think.
Yeah.
Starting to see a lot more people out and about.
Yeah. So, anyone want messages and ask for a certain case doing?
Yeah, please do. Cause we've
It can
done
be
it.
considered because we've done it now
Yeah.
for someone else.
Yeah, we have.
You know, I might know quite a few cases, but there's
God, there's so many that we
There's-
don't know.
there's so many.
There is. I know case I'm doing tonight, I'd say is probably the most popular I've done. You've already heard of it, haven't you?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Lee has when I asked him. But still, I thought, Shall I?
It's an amazing case. Well, it's not
Yeah.
amazing, but you can't really say amazing. It's a crazy case.
Yeah, it is. Another thing that we did watch were 24 Hours in Police Custody.
God, yeah.
We were fucking disgusted at
It
that
was
one.
unbelievable.
If you've not watched that this week,
Yeah, definitely watch it.
yeah.
It's a domestic violence case between a man and a woman is beating this 40-odd-year-old bloke. But watch it, it's worth
Yeah.
watching. I don't want to tell you all about it because it's worth watching.
Yeah, it definitely is. So,
If you can watch it, watch it.
who you got for me this week?
This week's piece of shit
Yeah,
is Kevin Davis.
okay.
Now, Kevin Davis, I've searched all of its internet, which means internet.
Yep. It's internet.
It's internet. And cannot find anything about his early life, which is really frustrating because I always like to do a little bit of early life.
Yeah, I think it gives you an insight.
Yeah, and it's really frustrating, but I cannot find anything. So, we'll go with what I've got.
You can only present what you've got.
So, Kevin Davis was born December 27th, 1995. He was from Corpus Christi in Texas. So, I take you straight to the date of the offence. It's March 27th, 2014. 18-year-old Kevin Davis is running away from home and is on his bike going along a railway track. After a period of time, he ditches his bike and his bag and he approaches a resident's home. Asks these residents to phone police because he's killed someone.
Just in that short period of time?
No.
Alright, sorry, go on.
So, I take you back to earlier that day.
Okay.
Kevin Davis tells his mum, Kim, 50 years old, he was bored with life and he hated everybody. He requested her permission to kill himself.
Right, okay.
Now, naturally, she's his mother.
Said no.
Yeah, she were a carer in a hospice. She were allegedly a really nice lady. Obviously, she was horrified at the fact that her son had just said this to her.
Yeah.
And she allegedly told her son that she could not control any of his actions.
Okay.
But naturally, she'd have probably said, no,
Yeah.
we'll get you help.
Yeah.
So what Kevin Davis decides to do is he decides to take his mum's life instead.
What?
Kim is sat on the sofa watching TV,
Right.
and Kevin Davis rips a cord out of his Xbox or PlayStation and tries to strangle her with a cord
Right.
from behind. That didn't work, or it didn't work as well as he wanted it to. So he decides to go into the back bedroom and get a hammer
What the fuck?
and smash her at least 20 times over her head
That's a rage, isn't it?
until her skull cracked open.
Oh my god.
Then Kevin, he drags her to the bedroom. Now they allege while he drags her to the bedroom, she's still conscious,
What?
even though he's just done this unspeakable act to her.
Yeah.
That's allegedly. And then Kevin takes her to the bedroom, puts her on the bed, and he stabs her in the head with a knife, which kills her immediately. And then Kevin, what he decides to do is he wants to check that she's dead.
Right.
So he sticks his fingers inside this knife wound and moves the brain out.
Oh, what is wrong with this boy?
It just, yeah, he legit stuck his fingers where he stabbed his mum in the head and moved her brain about in a skull. His own mother.
I'm speechless. But I don't know if that's because there's no build up, there's no background information.
Yeah.
You can't find. So it's gone from this 18-year-old boy
To boom.
to, yeah, fucking hell, I'm shoving my fingers in a whole life, put in your head, moving your brain.
Well, then what he does is he rapes his mum's
Oh,
body.
fuck me. Right.
And he leaves her on the bed with no bottoms on, posed out. Then what he later admitted that he was planning on doing is waiting for his sister
And he were going to do the same to his
so
sister.
he could rape and kill his sister.
Fucking hell.
He waited a while and then he got fed up of waiting and decided he'd had his fill of killing and left Corpus Christi on his bike.
So that were it. He
That
just
were
thought, I've had enough.
Yeah.
I've done what I needed to do. I'm going to get on my bike and go.
Yeah. He left a trail of blood from the living room to the bedroom and wrote messages in blood such as, "Chase me, sorry for the mess, KD."
What the fuck?
So, naturally, he gets arrested.
Yeah.
Investigators speak to him. There's a few quotes from this guy.
Alright.
So, he told investigators, quote, "I wouldn't take back what I did. I love her, in a way," unquote.
What the fuck?
Next
That's
one.
one way to show your love.
Quote, "I don't have standards. I don't have morals. A body's a body, piece of meat, unquote.
Right. Has this guy never killed before?
Not that you can find. It's just...
I find this unbelievable. And is he mentally sane?
Well, his next quote I've wrote is, he reckons he deserved 100 years. He was not mentally disturbed. I'm saying, I know what I did.
Wow.
He called it a night to remember, described one of his other fantasies, which included decapitating a girl before having sex with a body.
My God.
So, this kid is a necrophiliac.
Yeah.
So, listen to this. How many types of necrophilia do you think there is?
Surely is it not just under one umbrella? I don't know.
What if I told you there were 10?
Right. Fucking hell.
So, here we go. Class 1, role-playing necrophiles. Those who are sexually aroused by a living partner pretending to be dead. They don't actually want to have sex with a dead person.
But they pretend to be dead, okay?
Class 2, romantic necrophiles.
Fuck off.
Grief-stricken people who would mummify a portion of their recently departed's body and keep it in order to have a psychosexual stimulation. However, their interest in the deceased is limited to only the one they held or hold a romantic connection with.
Wow.
Class 3, necrophilic fantasizers. These have erotic fantasies about the dead. They may visit cemeteries or funerals and may masturbate or have sex in the presence of the dead.
Okay.
Class 4, tactile necrophiles. Erotic stimulation of touching a corpse, which may involve the breasts or sexual organs of the dead. Class 5, fetishistic necrophiles. Cut up parts of a stranger's corpse, mummify it and keep it for sexual gratification.
That's a stranger? A dead stranger?
Fucking sick. Class 6, necromutilomaniacs. Mutilate a corpse while masturbating. Class 7, I can't believe there's so many classes.
I can't, I'm shocked.
Opportunistic necrophiles. Though they are content having sexual intercourse with the living, would not be opposed to intercourse with the dead. Class 8. Regular necrophiles. Preference for sexual intercourse with the deceased. Though they can stimulate pleasure from both living and dead, they do enjoy living partners. Class 9. Homicidal necrophiles. Much like the classes before, they can stimulate sexual pleasure from the living, but for them the desire to have intercourse with the dead is so great they must kill in order to have a suitable sexual partner.
Wow.
Class 10. Exclusive necrophiles. They can only have sexual intercourse and pleasure with the dead.
Wow. I'm shocked. I'm a bit lost for words.
That's a lot of dead body fucking going on.
A lot of shagging dead bodies, I agree. Or fantasising about it. Or asking your husband or wife to play dead. Wow. Each to their own and all that.
So, back to Kevin Davis. He admitted it was his first time.
Right, okay.
Saying, quote, "Oh yeah, I guess I lost my virginity to a corpse." Unquote.
And to your mum.
And later on he admitted to choking, drowning, cutting open a cat,
Yeah.
and having sex with it.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, a little bit more of how he got punished. He pled not guilty to first-degree murder months later in June and turned down a 60-year jail sentence in a plea deal.
So he wanted to be in prison then?
His lawyers appealed for a lighter sentence, insisting Davis suffered from mental illness. Through an article affirmed the 18-year-old was diagnosed with a personality disorder. The prosecution argued there wasn't any medical evidence of any mental or emotional illness. The trial moved forward without the defence calling any witnesses.
Wow. Why didn't they have any witnesses?
I have no idea.
I find this really bizarre.
It is really bizarre.
I find it really
Well,
mind-blowing
it's
that
bizarre because it is...
he's gone from nothing, never been on the radar. These things normally build up. I think it's because it's out of ordinary. We're used to watching these people gradually get worse.
It's in wanting to kill himself and then...
It flicked round to
I'm going to kill you and do what I'm going to do to you, and then try and do the same to my sister.
Yeah.
Like a
Switch, just flicked.
Yeah. And that's what makes stuff like these interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Kevin's video confession that you can later look on YouTube
Yeah.
backed up the doctor's statement during the trial. Kevin made light of everything around him. He popped his knuckles, stretched, smiled, and waved at witnesses as they identified him. It took jurors less than an hour for a verdict. Kevin Davis was sentenced to life in prison, October 2014.
Wow.
And that's him. There you go, that's a right big picture of him.
Do you know what? Well, not that these people look like... So he just looks like an innocent kid.
18 years old.
Yeah. There's something not right for you to just flick like that, is there? I don't know if it's blown me away, that one, Philip.
Yeah.
Strange.
So, Kevin Davis is eligible for parole in 2044.
I'm shocked that you could find absolutely fuck all on. I thought this case that I
just don't understand how it goes from you killing yourself, like I've said, to killing your mother, but then doing something else. In terms of you've already killed your mum and now you're going to do something else disgusting to her. That's,
like it weren't enough.
Yeah.
But where the fuck did that come from? Do you know what I mean?
Well, he's obviously messed about with cats and...
Yeah. We used to, these people, you know, it normally starts with animals and stuff like that, but I don't think I've heard of many where they kill the animal and then shag it.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
I do know a pig farmer who used to fuck his pigs, though.
Is this serious or you're bullshit?
No, I'm being serious. He used to fuck his pigs.
And you personally knew him?
No, I didn't know him like that. He were a bloke in pub.
Oh, all right.
And everyone knew that he fucked pigs.
All right. Anyway, so like I said earlier, I know you know who I'm doing this week, but others might not. So I want to tell you about Robert Ben Rhoades, also known as the truck stop killer. I'm going to start on 1st of April 1990, and there's an officer, Mike Miller, who was an Arizona state officer, and he noticed they all call it a truck, it's American, but a wagon, parked dodgy on a curb with his hazard lights on.
Right.
Being a police officer, he thought, oh, maybe he needs some help, he's broken down. So he walked over to wagon, started having a look about, shining his torch, couldn't see anybody, so there was like a wooded area. He went and had a look round, nobody about. As he came back, he decided all wagons have like the metal steps, don't they, to help you up.
Yeah.
So he stood on it, shone his torch in, and he saw a woman that was chained and shackled and completely naked. As soon as she noticed this police officer, she started screaming. And then I shouldn't laugh, but then a man comes front back and closes curtains behind him, as though to say, it's completely normal that I've got somebody chained up and shackled in
What are you doing, mate?
back of me wagon, don't worry, just move on. So anyway, this officer sort of starts asking him to get out of the truck. Now, everything I've read about this bloke has said just how charming and charismatic he was, and so many people compared him to...
What did he put his hazards on for?
Bundy. I don't know why he put his hazards on. Maybe it were a mistake.
Alright.
Like, I've not actually found that bit out. Why
Well,
do you ask these...
No, because that's what got the copper's attention.
Yeah, you're right. But I think once he saw a woman naked, chained and
Yeah,
shackled...
but he wouldn't have gone over there if he didn't have his hazards on.
No, so he saved her life that night without even knowing that he saved her life, and he did it in a way that he wouldn't have approached that wagon if it weren't for them hazards. I don't think they were put on deliberately at all.
Maybe he knocked him.
Yeah, that's more the case.
Brushed his ass against button or something.
Maybe. So anyway, everybody says just how nice and charming this bloke is, and he's compared a lot to Bundy in terms of being very charismatic and smooth. And Officer Mike actually said he was so smooth when he climbed out of that wagon, yet there was this woman behind them curtains, completely terrified, and the way he got out of that van like nothing had happened, he said, it didn't register what were happening. It weren't like he refused to get out. He even said to him, oh yeah, I've got a gun, but don't worry, I'm not a threat to you.
Yeah.
I've left it there. So I think it just took a lot for it to register in this Mike's head. But this man basically tries spilling him all this shit, that this is consensual. It's between two friends that are sharing an experience, and she's only screaming because that's part of role play, right? So not quite buying it. Mike says, I want to cuff you and put you in back at car, and so he does. He goes to find this lady, and when he gets to her, she's got a horse bridle in her mouth. It had cut like outside of her lips. She's got I don't know what they're called, but like a horse thing that goes over the head where they tie rein on. And she's also got a chain and padlock round her neck, which is then chained up to a bar, and she's all cut and bruised, and there were no way it was consensual, basically. So they're trying to find keys to help unlock her and get her down, and she's completely naked at this point. So they give her a blanket. They can't find keys, so Mike decides to go to the car to ask this bloke, where's your keys? And when he actually got there, he was planning on doing a runner. He'd got his arms from behind his back with his handcuffs on. Right. He'd unbuckled his seatbelt, and he was just waiting for his chance to fucking run. So he got keys. By this point, some more officers had turned up for backup. So Mike stayed with him, so he couldn't escape. And the other officers helped the lady down. Now, I'm saying woman and lady because this victim doesn't want to be named. In everything I've read, her name's been changed. So that's why she's just known as...
That's her prerogative.
Yeah, 100%. So the police then took the lady for some help and tried to find out what happened. And she told them she was basically hitchhiking, and the trucker offered her a ride at a truck stop north of Phoenix. Again, she said he was really charming, he was kind, like nothing amiss with him, just really nice. She said that she felt that comfortable, that she actually fell asleep and she weren't worried to do so. Right. So she must have been really comfortable with him. Yeah. But then all of a sudden that changed, and he stopped his wagon. He got her by gunpoint into the back of his trailer, truck, whatever it's called. He took all her clothes off, he shackled her up, and then he began just torturing her. Now, the police found a very well-kept rape kit. He kept this in a briefcase, and it was immaculate.
It makes my skin crawl, that word.
Yeah.
Even the word rape makes me feel a bit...
Yeah.
But rape kit...
Well, we know when we do a lot of these, and we look into a lot of these sick bastards do build their own rape kits. Yeah. And it's what they're comfortable with.
Prepared,
it's what...
aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. And it's an awful thing. But that also straight away led police to believe that he's been doing this for some time.
Yeah. You
don't just build a rape kit from get-go. Or the things that were in there were just awful, just horrific, horrifying. In fact, there's a statement from Detective Barnard. He actually said he took very good care of the contents in that briefcase. There were alligator clips, leashes, handcuffs, whips, pins, dildos. Everything was in immaculate condition and was placed extremely neatly. I knew at that point I had a serial rapist on my hands, and I suspect that he's also killed.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, like I say, it don't acquire...
You can understand why.
Yeah. So he used this kit to just torture this poor woman. He told her right at the beginning that his name was Whips and Chains, and that's what he used when he did his radio calls. Yeah, he always signed out as Whips and Chains, or another name was Dusty. So he actually told her that he'd been doing this for 15 years, and I've seen some photos, they're all available to look at on Google. Absolutely fucking horrific, some stuff that woman endured. So at around 3 a.m. that night, the police went to interview him, and in every statement, in every courtroom, every police officer said the same. They just couldn't imagine what they were about to unravel.
Yeah.
They didn't realise that this was going to lead. Like you said, he spotted some hazards, he thought someone had broken down. If he had gone over, they'd have never unravelled all this. So I'm going to take you back.
He had a massive advantage, didn't he? With the truck.
Yeah, well...
driving all the way around the country.
It comes massively into play.
Yeah.
with this man. So I'm going to take you back, and I'm going to tell you about Robert Ben Rhoades, and he is believed to have killed at least 50 women. Some people think it's a lot more, in hundreds. He only ever confessed to 3 murders, but the FBI have said that they've got good reason that while Robert was active, he had killed up to 3 women per month. Now, he was active from 1975 to 1990. So that's a long time.
15 years.
Robert was born on the 22nd of November 1945, and he lived in Council Bluff in Iowa. There's like your gentleman, there's very much little known about Robert's sort of upbringing. It seemed to be a normal, pretty standard upbringing. It was mum mainly that brought him up. He was one of 4 kids. He was popular in high school, played football, did a few other little groups. When he was 12, his dad Ben came home from army, and he then became a fireman. So up to then, literally nothing stands out. No sort of abuse, no sort of background.
Yeah.
Just normal. Then...
Also you think.
Yeah. Then at 16, he was first arrested for tampering with a vehicle, and then later on that year, he was arrested for fighting, but nothing ever serious, just 2 silly incidents. So then in 1964, Robert went into the Marines, and in that same year, his dad, Ben, was arrested and charged for raping a 12-year-old girl. He lost his job and he was given a suspended sentence, but then a second girl, because they were both really young, a second girl came forward, so they then issued a warrant for his arrest, but 2 days later he was found dead in Fairmount Park from self-inflicted gunshot wounds to his head. So... that's
rapist piece of shit.
Yeah.
So.
That's the only sort of background that would have any relevance, really. So after them being part of an armed robbery himself, Robert was dishonourably discharged from Marines. He tried to enrol in college, dropped out. He even tried applying for police. Fuck knows why. He then decided to move back to Council Bluffs, and he got married and he had a son. But it's said that he were a proper shit dad. He didn't have no interest in being a father, and he became a long-haul truck driver. One way to spend all your time away from home, I suppose.
Yeah.
Now, Robert was very, very active in the swinging and the BDSM scene, massively. He had a bit of a reputation for being a creep. Everybody sort of said same. Charming, sweet and charismatic when you first meet him, but once you get to know him, he's extremely creepy and there's something really off with him.
Yeah.
Everybody says same. And even between hitchhikers, like rumours had already started about this sex dungeon that he'd got in back of his cab. Then in 1972, he divorced his first wife. He then went on to remarry a few other times, but all of his ex-wives all said same, that he was a manipulating arsehole. He tried to be extremely pushy with the swinging and the bondage and things like that. Things that they weren't into, tried to really push it. And he was just an arsehole. When I've looked...
He basically thought, if I'm not getting it at home, I'm going to go out and
do it
to some poor person.
Innocent person, yeah. So when I've looked at everything available to see online, his truck were basically similar to Toy Box Killer in the way it were personalised.
David Parker Ray.
Yeah. It were very similar. It were basically his own personal mobile torture chamber.
Yeah.
And he could pick up wherever he wanted, take them wherever he wanted, and do whatever he fucking wanted.
Sick fucker.
Yeah, and he designed it to basically hold women for weeks at a time, where he could just torture them, rape them repeatedly, and eventually kill them and dump them anywhere. So, in late 1980s, an 18-year-old girl called Shauna Halls was hitchhiking, and she asked Robert for a ride. She said that she fell asleep, and all of a sudden he pulled off into a secluded area. She woke up, started panicking, so he hit her in head. He dragged her at gunpoint into the back of his chamber. He shackled her hands and legs. He then spread the meagle, to chains hanging above from a bar on his roof. He then took off all her clothes. He forced horse's bit into her mouth. He tortured her for weeks. She was mostly naked the entire time. He would stab her with pins. He would use fish hooks to suspend her, and he'd use fish hooks to pierce her. He would shackle her in a standing position for hours at a time and randomly start whipping her. After he then got off on her terror and pain, he'd let her sleep, but then he'd wake her up to violently rape her. Now, what I am going to mention, again, this man could not get off normally.
Right.
He could only be aroused and ejaculate through pain, through other people's suffering.
Yeah.
So that's just an idea of the kind of sick things he must have done to get his own pleasure.
Yeah. And that'll have ramped up at time.
Oh yeah, over time.
Yeah.
Like it'll have started by a bit of
that
choking.
That don't do it for me anymore.
Yeah. It'll have started, experiment with the swinging.
So imagine how many other people there's.
You can't even, you don't know, do you? For her to be able to go to the toilet, he would make her get on all fours, like a dog. He would make sure she were naked and have a collar on her neck while he held it with a leash. And he would make her walk on all fours and squat and do her business like a dog. And after almost a month of being held in that wagon, he randomly took her to his home. He let her have a bath. He let her have a good meal and then raped her before getting her back in his truck, where this time he left her unshackled and all he kept saying is, be a good girl. Now, my opinion on this, I think he believes he's terrified her that much.
Out of pure arrogance.
Yes. He's broken her that much
I
that
agree.
she was going to sit there like a good little girl.
Yeah, I agree.
So he just kept repeating that she had to be a good girl. And he went into a bureau to do a job. She fucking ran. She ran like fuck and she were out of there. She got the police and he were actually still there when they got back. But when it came to pressing alt charges, she refused. She couldn't look him in the eye. She was absolutely petrified of him.
She should have been broken.
She said to the police that it was her word against his and she couldn't stand being cross-examined.
Or anywhere near him.
No. And that poor girl. Funnily enough though, surely to me the police then should have at least searched that truck properly.
They should have done something, shouldn't they?
But they fucking didn't. So Robert were basically free to carry on and crack on and do what he wanted to do. So in November 1989, he is now 44-year-old, and this is when he killed for the first known time.
That is confessed to.
Is confessed to. So 1989. Robert picked up Candace Walsh, who was 24, and her very, very newlywed husband, Douglas. They had left Seattle and were hitchhiking to Georgia because they were doing some Christian ministry work.
Yeah.
So they were really, really like pure people, just really nice apparently. And he offered them a lift in Texas. Straight away, he killed Douglas.
Took out for it.
Well, to me, it's like you were just an obstacle in his way and I'm going to get rid of you. And that's exactly what he did. He then dumped his body along Interstate 10. It was found pretty much straight away, but he was never officially identified until 1992.
Right.
So he was just kept all that time.
John Doe.
Yeah. He then kept her for 7 days, torturing her, raping her repeatedly, and then he eventually shot her multiple times, killing her and dumping her body in Utah. It was found in 1990 by some deer hunters, but again, she wasn't officially identified until 2003.
Jane Doe.
Yeah, using dental records. So, by this time, he's got a fourth wife called Deborah, and he married her in February of 1990. She said she couldn't believe from the first meeting him to how things panned out, let's just say. So she knew there was something a bit fishy from get-go, because when she actually met Robert, he was wearing a pilot's outfit, and he convinced her that he was an airline pilot. And she knew that he were into the swinging and the bondage, but she said she didn't realise just how much of a massive part of his life it was. He was extremely adamant on getting her to take part, trying to get her involved. He eventually got her to a swingers party, and he took her to a bedroom, where he then brought in a very, very young girl that looked like she was drugged and unconscious. He laid her on the bed and he raped her in front of his wife. At that moment, she was like, fuck this, I'm out. So she asked for a divorce.
Why didn't she report him?
So many questions. She should have done a long, long time before it came out. Now, by this point, there were a lot of gossip between local sex workers and hitchhikers, and they'd all started to basically stick together because the amount of women that they saw get in Robert's truck and then never saw him again were just getting more and more frequent.
Yeah.
So that's when we're back to the start of the story, the 1st of April, 1991, and Detective Mike has come across this woman.
Yeah.
And after questioning Robert, they managed to secure a warrant to his house in Houston. On the 6th of April, they did a massive search. They found a lot of evidence, clothing, makeup, bondage gear, tools that looked like they'd been made into torture tools.
He's just one sick bastard, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%. There's more to come as well. A lot of white towels. Apparently he had a thing for white towels, and there were soaked towels with blood in his house. But the most crucial were a series of photos they found, which, if anyone knows about this case, they are...
That's the first thing I said to you, isn't it?
Yeah.
I said, are you doing Robert Rhoades' case? And she said, yeah. And I said, the one with the famous photo.
Yeah. Well, these were pictures of a young teenage girl with short dark hair, and she looked absolutely fucking terrified. In almost all of those photos, she was crying. Some were nude, some were part nude. She were always shackled and restrained, and she always had a choker chain round her neck in all these photos. Now, one of Robert's signature things that came to light were he cut off the hair. He cut off all the hair into like a boyish manner, and he shaved all pubic hair. Now, once these photos were laid out, it was pretty obvious that he'd held this poor girl for quite some time due to how short her hair was.
Yeah.
And how much it had grown on pictures. Now, Robert was sentenced to 6 years for the kidnapping of the first woman. And then in 1992, a farmer was cleaning out an old barn, he was having some work done, and he found the body of 14-year-old Regina Walters. And Regina was reported missing when she was last seen in Texas in February of 1990. She had been hitchhiking with her boyfriend, Ricky, and they basically were trying to run away together to Mexico. Unfortunately, they accepted a ride from Robert. The police soon realised that the girl in the photos was said girl found in the barn. Robert had actually gone out of his way to ring her dad for almost a month after he kidnapped her and just taunt him about his daughter's whereabouts, taunt him about the things he'd done to her. And he said, and I quote, "I made some changes, I cut her hair and she's in that barn." Now, when he asked if she was alright, he just hung up. But he even then rang her mum and requested to meet her. Her mum turned up to this meeting point, but he was nowhere to be seen.
He'll have been watching.
Oh, 100%. You know it. Control, innit?
Tugging his little fucking pecker.
Oh. So they later then found her journal in Robert's possession, and it had the parents' details on it with the phone numbers, and once they'd looked at phone records, it was him, because there were a lot of speculation around were it a hoax, was someone doing this, because we've done cases like this where there's fucking awful people that send letters and whatever, but no, it was proven that it was him. But yeah, what really sealed it for him were them photos, and they're all online for anybody to have a look. And it shows her in this barn, around this barn, and then later where she was found.
Yeah.
And she weren't just strangled either. Like, he'd strangled her with some bale string, and he'd strangled her completely past the point of death.
Yeah.
Like, it was just fucking horrific. So then in early 1992, once everything starts piecing together and the form links, they kind of knew they had enough to charge him. So Robert took a plea deal, which I couldn't find what the plea deal was, but I'm guessing it's to avoid death penalty. So he would plead guilty to the murder of Regina, and he was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole.
Yeah.
Now, the FBI have analysed all his trucking logs and from the 15-year period, and they've managed to put his whereabouts to women that are still left unidentified, no reason for the death, and the linking. Even still now, like the routes this man took, he travelled.
He got about.
Well, California, Washington, New Mexico, Utah, New Jersey, Florida. That's just a portion of some states that he went through over a 15-year period.
Scary when you think about it.
In all those states as well, there were women that had been found that they had no link
no
to,
leads for. Nothing.
Even still now, like I say, a long time he were active, and there were a lot of hitchhikers and sex workers that have been found. In 2005, he were brought back to Utah to face charges for the murder of Douglas and Candace. He was then extradited to Texas in 2006, where they decided to try him for the murders all at once and do them all in one trial instead of having separate ones. On the 30th of March 2012, he was sentenced to a second life sentence for their murders. He also did a deal where they wouldn't go for the death penalty again, which, to be fair, I'm pretty shocked because Texas is a really harsh fucking place.
Yeah.
And he hadn't just got one life sentence. By the time you've got your second, you might as well be put to death. That, to me, felt lenient for Texas.
Yeah.
But there's so many little bits and bats about this man. Like, there's two things that really, really stand out for me. And it's the fact that he needs the gratification of hurting someone that much to be able to get himself off.
Yeah.
Like, that, like you said, that don't just happen. That builds, and it'll build with experimenting with things that normal people think are normal, and then moving up a level, and then a bit more, and eventually
he's got a sex dungeon in his fucking
truck, and he's doing, like, his wife, I can't remember which one, but one of his wives actually said she'll never forget she was hospitalised, and he was so aroused by her being in pain, he literally just stood there and jacked himself off over it. That's how much, like, but that's crazy to me. And the other thing is, again, just how no one suspected anything. He was so nice and charming and charismatic.
Unless you really knew him.
And actually, back then, he was known as a bit of a looker. Like, he has since gone on to have a stroke in prison, so his face isn't the same, and he looked a bit of calmer, if you ask me. So his face is all drooped, and I think he's paralysed in one side.
What a shame.
I know. But yeah, this man really fucking intrigued me in terms of how far someone's willing to go. So that's Mr. Rhoades.
It's amazing how many sick bastards there is out
Yeah.
there.
Fucking.
There's 10 versions.
Oh, fucking.
10
of
versions.
how you want to shag a dead body?
Yeah.
Fuck me. It's bad enough it being known and it being out there and there being actual people that are into that, let alone having 10 different types of it. Fucking hell.
So, I hope you've enjoyed this episode.
I hope the 2 week weren't too much of a big gap.
Yeah.
I hope it's been worth waiting. I've had so many people telling me we've thrown off routine. Me Sunday night spoil. But
if people are really that intent on us doing a weekly, then we could go back to it. But at minute, we'll just do it fortnightly.
yeah, I think we're enjoying the fact that things are opening up. We're trying to get out a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, days off work that we've got, trying to spend getting out, fresh air,
Yeah.
been about. So it'll be gives us a bit of time, doesn't it?
So instead of saying enjoy your week, I'll say enjoy your 2 weeks.
Yep, and we'll see you back here in a fortnight.
See ya.
Bye.